November 20th. We will begin our meeting, I will call it to order, at 6:30 p.m. Next on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes. We will begin with November 6, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The next on the agenda is the November 13th, 2025 budget workshop minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
I don't think that can,
Yeah, I don't think that has the vote we need.
That's what I was thinking, because there weren't enough there. There wasn't a quorum,
Right.
so there wouldn't be a quorum to.
right. Okay. I might loop back to that one. Moving right along to public comment. Seeing none, we will move right to reports and discussion. First on our agenda for reports and discussion is a sabbatical request from Ms. Hoffman. Okay. Is it one to pass down?
Yep, just
Okay.
pass down. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm back again. So I'm Erin Hoffman, and I'm here to respectfully request a one-year paid sabbatical leave so I can pursue a reading specialist license. According to the contract, the purpose of the policy is for recognition of professional excellence, encouragement of professional growth, and improvement of the Monomoy School District. It also requires 14 years of service to the district. As far as I know, nobody has ever used this benefit at Monomoy, and I've been here for 27 years, Harwich and then Monomoy. Okay, so I put together a little presentation. It's not much, but, so why the need for a reading specialist? So according to iReady results, this is a new program we're using. It replaced MAP. I got this data from Gen Police because I don't administer iReady because I have 10th and up. But according to the data, 37% of students are 3 or more grade levels below Tier 3. 6% of students are 2 grade levels below Tier 3. 21% of students are 1 grade level below. 23 students are on grade level, and 14 are mid or above grade level. So basically, what that means is that 64% of our students in grade 8 are in need of Tier 2 or Tier 3 intervention, with Tier 3 being the most challenging. Only 36% of kids have the prerequisite skills for grade level readiness. And so basically Tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is just general education, universal instruction. Tier 2 would be more targeted support for a smaller group. And then Tier 3 is intensive, individualized level of intervention. And so 64%, 21 needing Tier 2, and 43 needing Tier 3. We're at 64%. So basically, students who lack the prerequisite, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, skills cannot make a year's progress in a year's time. So if you're in the 8th grade reading at a 5th grade level, if you make that year's progress, that still leaves you at a 6th grade level going into the 9th grade. So we need some more intervention to close the gaps. So what I handed out, so according to the Education Recovery Scorecard, this is reading performance for grades 3 through 8. It shows a decline in grade level equivalence relative to the 2019 national average. I linked the report, but the paper that I gave you there, because it's a bunch of different, and it's got math on there and everything else, so I just kind of summarized the report. Basically, we have I gave out all my papers. Do you have one more? Okay. So if you look at 2019, the numbers, if they're in the positive, it means that's what we were above grade level, and then the negatives are below grade level. So in 2019, we were 1.41% above grade level, and you can see that there's a steady decline to the numbers that read now is that we are 0.17 below grade level. So we've had sort of a steady decline throughout the years, and that's because of pandemic and other different things. So that's basically that report in a nutshell. Okay, so MCAS data. So this is, this was taken off the DESE website, and this is through grades 3 through 8, and then grade 10. So according to the 2025 results, only 45% of our students are meeting or exceeding expectations, which means 55% are partially or not meeting expectations in ELA. Our 10th grade, let me go back. Well, anyway, I'll just read it to you. In 10th grade, only 42% are meeting or above, and leaving 58% of partially meeting or not meeting expectations. These graphs suggest that our students have lost some ground in reading, especially in the middle grades. So this is grades 3 through 8. The blue indicates all students, and you can see, sort of a steady decline there. It looks like we're going up a little bit, but we're 45% are meeting. Then this is grade 8. Again, the dark blue line indicates all students, and again, we're seeing sort of a decline. And then in 10th grade, you see a major drop, and this could be for several reasons. This was the year that they took away the graduation requirement for 10th graders, so that could be, I don't want to speculate, but maybe a lack of effort because it wasn't a graduation requirement, but you can see that there is a decline there. So although the MCAS results show that we are making typical progress, they are not accelerating enough to recover from the pandemic loss or to close those equity gaps. The fact that high-need students are growing more slowly is particularly concerning. So all of the data suggests that we have lost ground in reading, especially in the middle grades, which would indicate a need for a reading specialist to design, support, and monitor targeted interventions. So this sabbatical would allow me to obtain specialized training in assessment-driven reading instruction, enabling Monomoy to accelerate reading growth and close gaps and align K through 12 literacy practices with the science of reading. It will also, it will also strengthen our supports and our commitment to skillful communication and academic independence as outlined in our portrait of a graduate. The purpose for me, for the reading specialist, would be that the program, depending, and I attached a couple programs. I was looking at Bridgewater and Salem State, and some of them are, it's a hybrid, or it's online, or it's in person or hybrid, but regardless of whatever program I do, all the programs require a practicum, which means I would have to be in school practicing during school time in a school setting, which makes it would be impossible for me to keep teaching full-time and doing a practicum. So it would be, the program involves anywhere from 30 to 36 credits. So that's why I'm looking for the 1 year, so that I could get the reading specialist license within a year's time. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes.
I just have one question. What's the length of time for the practicum?
So it depends on the program. Let me just get my paperwork. They have it at credits. So it depends on how many hours that they think, they require per credit. And I'm sorry, I don't have that information in front of me.
So the practicum itself isn't a year long?
No. The practicum is the end of it. So you take your classes and then you have to, it's sort of like when you do your student teaching to become a teacher.
So like a semester maybe?
Yeah, it would be something like that. So you would go in and you do your student teaching. That's what the practicum would be.
And is that something you can do in your current district?
That I'm not sure of. I don't know. Would that be something that Monomoy would look at?
Well, I don't know if the program allows you to go back and do your practicum
I think,
in the school where you're currently employed.
so I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want to speak out of place, but when I did my student teaching, they allowed me to choose the district to go through. So I'm assuming it's like that. I did my student teaching at Brockton, and I was going through Bridgewater. So I'm assuming it's something like that, but again, I don't have all the specifics because I haven't really enrolled in the schools yet. I've checked it out. I've spoke to the people at the schools, but it requires an application process, which requires money and all of that. And I didn't want to go ahead and do that if I didn't have any assurance of having the time to do it.
I just have one more follow-up.
Sure.
So you said that Bridgewater and Salem were the two.
Well, the two that I was looking at, but I have actually looked into Leslie as well, and I've been getting some information from them. So I would just find the best fit if it was approved.
And those offer remote and you said hybrid and
So
also
Salem
fully-
would be remote until the practicum. Bridgewater is a hybrid of in-person and online courses. And then Leslie, I haven't really even investigated that much. I just kind of put my feelers out.
But it's remote as a full course load.
Yes.
Okay,
Any other questions?
thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question.
Yes.
Sorry, do we have an indication now of, you saying the middle school is the greatest challenge, the middle school is the greatest challenge, so what, do we have the scores there of what it is right now, the latest, so we can see what's going to be happening when they come up to high school?
So that, the data that I have is that in the 8th grade level, so they're coming in, there's 64% of them with a deficit. So they're not at grade level at 8th grade, and that's more than half. I don't have, like, the younger, the iReady program is new, and again, I don't administer it, so I'm pretty sure they are doing that at the middle school level. Did they do iReady at middle school? Yeah. So I just have the data for the 8th grade. But a reading specialist would be for the entire district. I would work K through 12.
All right,
All
thank you.
right,
So
thank you very much.
we kind of digest this, and then we'll vote at our next meeting.
Great,
All
thank
right,
you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, our next item is our MRHS STEM field trip to London. Dr. Otto?
Hi, I'm Dr. Otto. I teach physics and astronomy here at the high school. I am proposing a STEM field trip to London and England in general, because 2 of the days will be out of London, during the spring break of 2027. So the idea behind the trip would basically allow the students to not only see a little bit of London itself, but also do some physics engineering kind of projects, a little bit with coding and technology and forensics, basically like problem solving. So some of the days that are just going to be straight up like do a workshop and then maybe see like Stonehenge or something like that with it. And again, tied to the global community and global awareness. Some of the highlights for the STEM portion of the trip would basically be Bletchley Park. This is where the Enigma machine was broken during World War II. They had the original computer there, obviously in a museum setting. That day would be focusing more on actually code breaking, like a workshop, and then they get to go see the museum and how they broke the code. The Royal Observatory in Greenwich. Again, that's where the Prime Meridian is. They can see the telescopes that, again, influenced the 1800s. There is going to be a forensics workshop that is led by, I think, a retired Scotland Yard investigator that then ties into a Jack the Ripper themed, murder mystery kind of thing to, how did the clues lead us to what we have now and basically stuff like that. They do a whole day on Stonehenge and archaeology. That will be a day out of London. And then going to the British Museum and the London Science Museum inside of London. This thing would also highlight things culturally around London. So they would be on a Thames River cruise. They would go on the London Eye, get an overall view of London, guided tour of Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, St. Paul, Tower of London, all stuff like that. That would include the architecture of like the Tower of London, how that played an impact in the British culture and stuff like that. The overall logistics of the whole thing is that I am aiming for an April 16th through April 24th, 2027 trip, assuming that's when spring break lines up for next year. If it doesn't, obviously I would adjust those dates to make sure it lines up for spring break. But the overall tour would include the airfare tickets, the hotels, breakfast and dinner, the tour guide, and the buses and all that stuff. And again, I went over this with Miss Police, and we tried to make sure we went through like 3 or 4 different, we call it different companies, and this one had the best, like well balanced, like here's a lot of science stuff, but they do have days where they can actually see London itself and get a mixture of both of them. So it's kind of well balanced, and there will be not much, but some free time to like explore a little bit, which together, not on their own thing. Just want to make sure that's clear. Overall, the cost of the trip is $4,719. That includes the insurance. So if somehow this gets canceled, everyone gets all their money back. It includes all the gratuities for the bus driver, the tour guide, everything else. So that's it for the cost of the trip, except for if they want to buy souvenirs or lunches or anything like that. Basically, for their payment to sign up, it'd be $95, and then basically $272 per month for basically the next 17 months. I wanted to spread it out so it's less money per month versus presenting this near the end of the year and each month is more money. EF has fundraising opportunities and scholarship things, so they can write letters to EF on how this is important to them, whatever, and get some money. But they also have opportunities through the EF's website where they can basically, go to their family, hey, can you just donate a little bit of money, like a little fundraiser kind of thing, and it applies it right to their account, stuff like that. So they do have these options. That's my last slide. So, any questions?
Any questions? Have you put this out to the kids? Do you have some interest?
There is some interest. Some kids know that I'm doing this.
Talking about it?
Yeah, but I didn't want to put it out to the students yet until I had an idea of, if there was going to be a field trip or not, Yeah.
How many students do you expect altogether? I don't know if you would say.
I have not put it out there.
What's your guess?
I'm hoping around 18, maybe 24. I really don't want to have a big group or anything, but I don't, but
Sure.
again, it's up to whoever's interested.
And have we done this before?
They have done a London trip back in 2018 and again in 2021 that I know of. Both of those were done with Miss Barnes, and that was a theater-themed trip. So this would be the first one that's science-based.
So you expect about 18?
I'm assuming around 18, yeah.
Ryan?
That was a similar question to
Okay.
what I had.
Jackie?
My only other question is sometimes EF breaks it up into if you have between 18 and 20, it's this price, but if you have 20 to whatever, does the price change?
No, the price hasn't changed. What would change is if we were to have, I think, 30 kids or something like that, they would allow us to customize the trip more. Because if it's anything under 30, then they may say, well, your school has 24, but since we can fit 40 on a bus, this school here has 6 kids. We're going to put them with you and you all go together. So again, follow the basic itinerary. If we had over 30 kids, then they would basically allow us to say, hey, you get your own private group. if you want to change things around, you want to do the British Museum first and change things like that, you guys can customize it because you have enough kids.
And how many chaperones?
There'd be one chaperone for every 6 kids.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Anything else? All right.
Oh.
Oh,
Right.
Any chance of a football game?
There's a little free time. I guess depending on how many kids go and the interest, that's a possibility, but that wasn't in the plans.
all right.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Dr.
much.
Otto. All right, moving right along to MRHS Marine Biology Laboratory at Woods Hole overnight field trip.
Callahan. Good evening, I'm Ms. Callahan, I'm the STEM curriculum director, and I'm here to share another type of STEM opportunity that we are offering our students. This January, our high school has been invited to participate in the Marine Biological Laboratory's High School Discovery Program in Woods Hole. So from January 7th to 9th, a cohort of AP Biology and AP Environmental Science students will take part in a 3-day residential research-based course with MBL scientists. Students will live on campus, work in real laboratories, and engage in hands-on research and experience authentic science inquiry at a world-class institution. Their academic focus will be on adaptation, on evolution, and response to environmental change. And the best part about this, and I know it's budget season, is this opportunity is completely free for our students. MBL has secured a grant that will pay the cost of the programming and room and board for our students. So it's a great opportunity. In addition, this partnership directly advances our district goals around real-world STEM experiences, career-connected learning, and broadening access to high-quality science pathways. It gives our students exposure to equipment, expertise, and research environments typically reserved for college-level learners. And we're thrilled to share how this impacts our students. So this is the presentation that was given to our AP Biology and AP Environmental Science classes. We have 2 sections of AP Environmental and 1 section of AP Biology. We chose to target this group of students because they were looking for a higher level interested scientists. So I just wanted to share this a little bit. There is a video if you would like to watch it. I'm not going to spend the time watching the video right now. Ooh, there we go. This is a little bit about the scientist and the instructor and the actual course. But what the kids were mostly excited about is the accommodations. So I shared some pictures of that and what they'll be eating, so the dining hall, things like that. Students will be placed in double rooms, and it'll be 2 days, I don't know if I said that, 2 days, 3 days, 2 nights. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about the program. It kind of came on fast and furious. We were hoping for April, and it quickly shifted to early January. So given the fact that it is free of charge, I'm hoping that we'll all agree that this is a great opportunity for our students. Yeah.
So it's sometime in early January, 3 days, 2 nights, and it's those 3 sections of
So
students?
it's open to students who are interested
Okay.
in those 3
So
sections.
it's not part of like the curriculum, like,
It's
hey, we're
not-
going here?
It's an addition, and they're looking for, minimum is 10 students, max would be around 18, and right now we have 14 students, interestingly enough, 7 in AP Bio and 7 in AP Environmental Science that are, expressing interest, getting their paperwork in, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
So, timing-wise, we're a
Fast and
little tight.
furious. Yes.
So do we need to vote on this tonight? Our next meeting is December 11th.
That would be great.
So it's not an action item on our agenda, but if we have consensus, are we okay to vote on this evening?
I would say, yeah, it says that the high school discovery registration forms due December 1st, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a week from Monday.
So if we're okay with
That
that.
way they can,
So do I have a motion?
I will make a motion.
Okay.
MRHS Marine Biological Laboratory at Woods Hole overnight field trip. Approved.
And I will second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, looks like you're going.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
you.
Or they're going, I don't know, are you going with them?
To be determined,
Okay.
it's a 1 to 10 ratio, so we may need to back the numbers.
Okay.
We'll see what
All right, next up is our budget workshop slides and next steps. So I believe they're all in our packet. And we did have a budget workshop last week, but we did not have a quorum at the meeting, so there was not an opportunity for the committee members to ask questions, nor some of our guests that we invited. So we decided to put all of the presentations from the principals in our packet for us to review. And then on December 11th, we've re-invited members of the select board and the finance committees from the towns, and we've asked the principals to come back so that there is an opportunity to ask some questions. And that will happen on December 11th. Do you have anything else to add, Dr. Carpenter?
No, but we have extended the invitation to select boards and the finance committee, both towns, and the town managers have sent the same slides that you have in your packets to the members of those boards.
So if we can take the time between now and the 11th to review these and come up with any questions we have for the principals, then we can make it an efficient conversation when it comes time. Yes.
I just don't have it in front of me. Our next finance subcommittee meeting, just because I just wanted to take a look at some of the items that were presented, and I did go over them with Michael on Monday. And I don't know if we're meeting before that December 11th meeting? I think we are, right?
The
Okay,
8th.
perfect. Okay,
December
great.
8th.
That's perfect then, because there's a couple things that, okay, great. That answers my question.
Perfect. Any other questions? All right. So we will move right along to the treasury appointment.
Good evening, school committee. Michael McMillan, school business manager, and I'm here to present to you the finalist for the position of treasurer. So there is a memo in your packet with all the details. The treasurer position is one of the ones that's approved by school committee, which is why we're here requesting a vote to approve the appointment. We carried out a recruitment process in September and October. One of the things that we changed during that process is that we opened this position up as the possibility of a remote, sort of virtual position in order to generate more interest and garner more applications, and which we did. And we went through an interview process which involved 3 school committee members, myself, the superintendent, and our district accountant. And I'm delighted to say that we all agreed on our finalist, Jacob Volker, who's here this evening. And I'd like you to meet Jacob. His resume is in your packet. And I'm going to invite Jacob up here in a moment to introduce himself, say a little bit about his background, and then ask for your approval as school committee for his appointment.
Great.
His position will start subject to your approval. His position would start December 1st. We have arranged for an overlap between him and the outgoing treasurer, Paul Donlan, who is sort of retiring for the second time. So we're sad to see Paul go, but very excited that Jake is poised to come on board.
Great.
Jacob?
Hello, it's nice to meet all of you finally in person. I know I met some of you in the interview, but it's nice to meet you all in person. My name is Jacob Volker. I have 18 years of experience in municipal finance, working the whole gamut from payroll through borrowings, managing of fiscal money, helping forecast budgets, issuance of bonds, and of course working with finance committees, select boards, town administrators to establish budgets. I hold an advanced degree as a Juris Doctorate, so I am a lawyer by education, although I prefer to practice in municipal. I am very much interested in the school and in this district and working with all of you very closely, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? comments? Brad?
You seem to have quite a background and would be perfect for this.
I certainly hope so.
Right?
Going through the process, being great candidates, and you were far and above the best, so.
Thank you.
would
I
support you.
appreciate that.
And I would just reiterate, very impressive. Excited to have, a possible opportunity here, so it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make motion to approve the appointment of Jacob Volker at Monomoy Regional High School District Treasurer effective December 1st, 2025.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Officially a shark.
All right, moving right along to the MRMS Roof MSBA submission.
All right. I feel like Jake is also going to raise our sartorial game. He's very well dressed. I'm here to provide an update on the project to replace the middle school roof. And I will give you, the timeline. This is a project which we're doing with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. We have appointed, through the MSBA, they will reimburse 37% of the costs of the project. They also appoint owner's project manager, which is CSL Consulting, and an architect, which is GRLA Architects. And we're just on the cusp. We'll be coming back to you in December in order to get your approval to the submission of the design of the project to be submitted to the MSBA's board. So that's why this is kind of your penultimate presentation before we get the one in December, and that goes for, and that's the schematic design. So that will go through to the MSBA's board, which will then, subject to their approval, will move forward for town meeting in the spring to get approval for the debt related to the project. So I'm just going to give an outline of where we kind of are with some of the key issues related to the design. We had a meeting of the school building committee, which really received this presentation from the architects. So I'm going to give you the layperson's version. And this is actually quite a good slide to start with, because you can kind of see a couple of key factors related to this roof which are impacting the project. The first is it's really big. So it's like it's a big building. I forget sometimes quite how much square footage there is up there. And as I'm sure you'll appreciate, square footage drives cost. And so when you get to the end and you see the costs, you can see this is part of the reason it's so high. Also, what you can also see here is there are two different types of roof. You've got the flat piece, the PVC white roof, and then you've also got the sloped roofs, which are asphalt tiles. And so that also is just complicates the project a little, because we've got two different types of material up there already. And then you can also see all the little dots and white little blocks around the roof. That is HVAC related equipment. So like the vents for the air exchange, and all that needs to be managed. That means we need HVAC contractors involved in order to make sure that sometimes it's been taken off and put back on after the roof is done. So those are three of the factors that kind of complicate this project. So the architects presented the base scope. So that's basically the base schematic design. So at this point we're about 2/3 of the way through the design. That's what goes to the MSBA. Once they approve it, then and once town meeting approves it, then you finalize the design before it goes out to bid. So we're kind of some way along the road yet, but it's not the final version. There's two major issues that we kind of have been wrestling with. The first is how much solar preparation to do with the new roof. So the MSBA requires that the project involve a minimal amount of solar readiness, so that the roof is designed that it is ready to have solar panels attached to it if the district goes with that. It doesn't involve putting the solar up there, just getting the roof ready for it, making sure it can withhold the weight of the panels, or that it has the fixtures and that it has electricity running up there, the conduit and so on, so that it can be attached to the roof. So how much solar ready to prepare for the roof, and whether on those sloped roofs we should be looking at shingles as there is now, or the architect has presented the idea of having a metal roof up there just because they last much longer and are less susceptible to wind damage, which has been an issue with that roof. There was an event in 2018 where a bunch of tiles were ripped off the roof and caused required repair. So a metal roof would not have those same issues, but there is a higher upfront cost. I'm going to go into that in a little bit more. But then at the end, we'll talk about the schedule and the budget. And so the base scope, so this is just the outline of all the steps involved, ripping off what's there, as I mentioned, taking off any mechanical and electrical equipment, the demolition, removal of, once it's taken off, removing everything. They are proposing a modified bitumen roof, which is an asphalt plastic mix on the flat part of the roof. That is very durable and it's easy to put down and very durable and less likely to be damaged if there's any problems related to wind. They will do a coating on top of that, then the potential metal or shingle roof assemblies. Any skylights, roof hatches, all that will be replaced, and then the mechanical electrical equipment will be reinstalled and replaced if necessary. So one part of the project is that because when this project is combined with the siding project, that means we've gone above the threshold that requires accessibility upgrades. So if I think it's a third, if within 3 years, I think it is, you make repairs or maintenance to the building over a third of the cost of the estimated cost of the building, then you have to bring the building up to code for accessibility. So it's actually a good opportunity for us to address some issues in the building and receive reimbursement from the state as we do it. So although it does add around $500,000 to the cost of the project, we will get 37%. It's good for students who have accessibility issues, which is great, and we get 37% back from that paid by the state. So, in one sense, it's adding to the cost of the project, but it is for the benefit of the building and the students. So these are the solar options that the architects have presented. So the green patch there, which is on one of the sloped roofs, is around 3% or just over 3.6% of the roof area. And that's what the architect is recommending as the minimum amount necessary to comply with MSBA regulations. And then the blue area is other potential areas that we could get solar ready if we wanted to maximize solar coverage on the roof. So in order to do the green part of the roof, that's where they're proposing to put in, the architect's proposal was that they would put in metal roof there to make it easier to fix solar panels if we wanted to do that, and then the electrical wiring and so on to get to that place. So that's what would be involved as a minimal amount of work in order to get solar and meet the MSBA threshold. So if we want, so when they first presented this, I said, well, we might want to do more because we know that, the cost of electricity is going up, and that's been a constant issue with our budget. So what could we do to maximize solar coverage, especially when it's getting reimbursed by the state? And so that's when they came back with this plan. Unfortunately, the problem is that the roof as it is doesn't have the load capacity in order to add significant additional solar panels. Basically because when you put solar panels there, in order to minimize an amount of screws and punctures you're making in your roof, which increases the likelihood of a water getting into the building, you put ballast. So that's what, and that's what we have at Harwich Elementary School. You basically got all these solar panels up there, and they're just weighed down by weights, so they don't blow away. But that's adding a significant weight to the roof. And right now, with the design of the roof, it cannot take that weight. So in order to do all that, we would need to make some significant engineering changes to the roof in order to increase its load that it could take. So that's a significant project of in the neighborhood of $1 million, and we'll see there. And so because of the significant increase, the building committee voted to just go with a minimal amount of solar in that green area. So we'll meet the MSBA's threshold without taking on a more significant cost. So that's where we're at the moment. We're still just checking the numbers and making sure that it's not worthwhile doing the investment if it is going to generate solar revenue. But we also know we have some other options, like, parking lot covers if we wanted to go that way in order to find other ways to generate solar energy, because this just seems like a very extensive, costly option, and that we believe there are easier options than that. So that's where we got to in solar. Any questions, comments on that? All right, so I won't go through. So we had a long conversation about metal roofs versus asphalt tiles or asphalt shingles, and asphalt shingles are what we know. It's what's up there right now, and I mean, apart from one wind event, they've worked for the last 25 years or so. But there is that risk of high winds causing damage, and they do need to be replaced every 25 years or so, particularly a coastal area with salt water and so on. Metal roofs, on the other hand, much less susceptible to wind damage and will last longer, 50 years plus. And so that's why the architect is recommending this approach. The building committee wasn't convinced, but they were considering the option. They thought that they liked the fact that it's potentially cost effective and less likely to be damaged. They're worried about sound and impacting the building. I want to mention that. And we've sat through meetings in this room where it's been difficult to hear what's happening, and having that additional cost. We're very cost focused. We want to bring this project in at the most efficient and most cost-effective solution, and this does add cost. So it's weighing up that short term versus the long term, and also really, to be honest, that's what it came down to: cost and sound. So they went through a number of different issues related to comparing the two roofs, but really it came down to those two issues. And so this is definitely straining my technical knowledge, but this was the architect just explaining how this won't, I'm just looking at this roof, and what they were explaining to us that there will be many layers between the metal roof and the building, which will dampen any sound. And so the architect was of the view that the sound would not be intrusive in the event of rain. We're not sure. We still want to test that out. We really want to talk to some buildings, to be honest, we want to find some schools that have something like this in place and make sure that's true. And I think, the difference was, the architect was saying it would happen very, very rarely. But I think we're coming from, it can't happen ever. We can never have classrooms not happening because it's raining, even if it's only a few times a year. That's not acceptable. So we need to really be sure that it will work for us. So that was our number one. And then also, as I said, and then we got into about the cost. So the cost, and we talked about warranties. So it's very difficult to get long-term warranties for wind damage for asphalt shingles. So you can get you get a 25-year warranty on the roof, but it doesn't cover wind damage. It doesn't cover organic growth or staining. So you have to then they will be shorter warranties of like 10 years. So really what your warranty covers if there's some installation problem or if the product fails due to manufacturing faults. But that's not really been our experience. Our experience has been related to wind. So the architect was just making the point that you've got a very short warranty on asphalt shingles. It goes into some more detail on this for two brands, and then the point being that the warranty for a steel roof is greater. So where the building committee came down on this was that although they were sort of on the fence about the steel roof, however, because of this place we're at the design, we're still in design, so really they voted, let's keep it in for now, and we'll carry on doing our homework before, because the challenge is with MSBA, if you take it out now, you can never put it back in. But if you keep it in now, you can take it out before we get to town meeting or before we go out to bid. So, we just don't want to close off any avenues yet, keep our options open, keep going down this road, and then as we collect more information, as we talk to buildings schools that have these kind of roofs, we can make the decision about whether or not we go with a metal roof. So that was where we got with the building committee. The one other thing is, so MSBA doesn't always approve metal roofs. So there's a possibility we'll submit this to the MSBA and they will say, yes, you can do it, but we won't reimburse it. And I think at that point, we would probably not go with it. We would go back to the asphalt roof. So that was basically the tenor of the conversation. I just wanted to I mentioned the schedule. So we have the submission deadline of December 18th. So we'll be coming back to you on December 11th to get your approval to submit the design to the MSBA. The MSBA board then doesn't meet until February 25th. So you have to have your papers in 2 months before. And I give Roberta a hard time when she wants my school committee papers like 3 days before. And they're like, so we have to get this in. So, and then there are going to be some back and forth, but they're going to review the design before it goes to the boards to be approved. Then, as I said, we'd be going to town meeting in May. And then the plan is for construction to happen not next summer, but the following summer. So like this time next year, we'd be going out to bid, and then we'd be doing the actual construction in sort of a bit like the siding, starting in April probably, and going through the summer. So, this is actually a little difficult to see. So this is so we're still finalizing this, but these are, let me see if I can get this. I don't know if that's going to work, but this is the estimated budget. So the construction cost alone is $9.5 million for the base price, and the total budget cost is estimated at 11.4. Of that, the district's cost would be $7.2 million, and that's what we need to borrow for. The metal roof, assuming MSBA participated, would add about $500,000 to the district's costs. And the solar would have added $900,000 to the district's costs. So right now, the option that we're planning, we're developing to submit to the MSBA is the metal roof option, so we can see if the MSBA will approve it, and then we will carry on investigating it before we finalise it and go to town. All right. Any questions? How did I do a good job of?
I think you did a great job staying neutral.
Thank you very much.
You did great. You just explained it all.
Brad?
Just one question right now.
Yeah.
And that is, the metal roofing would last for 50 to 70 years.
Yeah.
Was it taken into consideration as to how long, 50 years would be a long time.
Yes.
At some point, somebody may say it's time for a new school, and over that time period. So is that taken into consideration, or is it just assumed that this is going to, this will continue?
So that is a great question, and I think something we need to wrestle with. It's hard. I guess to an extent, we are just progressing on the, assumption that yes, this school will be here for 50, 70 years, but that is something we need to take into consideration when we're looking at that delta of 500. So say we're definitely assuming the building's going to be there for 25 to 30 years. That's because we're doing these major projects, placing the roof, replacing the siding. We are on this building for the long term. It's a good quality building. It's got everything we need, so we are sticking with it. That is our plan.
Which an asphalt roof would pretty much.
Yes. So that's what I'm thinking, right? So like if we think that's as far as it's going, then we should, that should be factored into the consideration about the metal roof. Yeah, that's a difficult question.
Yep.
And very heavy. Yeah.
At first, Brad, when you said that, I was like, wait, does he say don't do the roof and just build a new school? And because we've talked about that a gazillion times, but
that hurdle we've jumped. Yeah,
that part
exactly.
we've jumped to, and yes, we need to do the roof because we're doing the siding, because there's no point in doing one if we're not doing the other,
Yes.
which is why we sit where we are now, and financially building a new school's up.
Yeah.
They were they're huge proponents of the metal roof.
Yeah.
It's hard to determine if it's because it's the up-and-coming new material, if it has to do with the solar and and installing the solar. So we had to kind of pick all that apart, and then I think having, a lot of our contractors at the table, myself at the table, talking about, we're sitting there and and they're talking about all the snow we get and the hurricanes and the things and where we fit and the categories, and I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, okay, well, we had one snowstorm last year.
Yeah.
They're talking about, we're talking about 50-year architectural shingles, same age length as the metal roof is. But, I mean, you're at the same risk. So we're really kind of going back and forth because they couldn't come up with a very good argument as to why we wouldn't do an architectural shingle. Because honestly, the longevity is going to be about the same. And any time you're going to have a loss, you're going to go up and patch it before you go and submit a claim to go against your deductible. And then again, if it's a warranty thing, you're going to know within 20 years, which is what, or I think it's 15 for the architectural, if there's an issue with the shingles, most likely. So you're never going to apply the warranty anyway. And I will circle back that one of the largest concerns we have, and we spoke about this library a lot, were the acoustics of it. They do have one building right now that they are doing and they're putting through MSBA. So it'll be interesting to see if that goes through.
Yeah.
And then, of course, because our roof is so different, I'll put, and it needs so much more in order to even think about putting solar in. It needs the reinforcement in the brackets. That's really why we decided on doing the minimal, and we were like, we've got fields, we've got parking lots, there's other solar options. We just want to meet what MSBA requires. And honestly, all we have to do is that small piece. We have to do an electrical conduit, and then for architectural or for metal, it's just some brackets, I think. And I don't even think
maybe not even that.
We don't even need that.
Yeah.
So it's very minimal. So it doesn't matter which one we go with.
Yeah.
So we've asked them to go back, and we've asked twice. They've been very resistant to the architectural shingle, but we've asked them to go back and really give us a full architectural roof with the piece that's going to have to be solar as architectural. And then, of course, we're going to stay with whatever they recommend for the flat part.
Yeah.
So, but either way, we're going to go forward with MSBA, and we can change to architectural at any time. So, once we have more information.
I mean, I was resistant to the roof at first just because of the sticker price shock. But I mean, I like the idea of assuming the building's going to be there and in use for 70 years. Let's just assuming that. I like the idea of doing this part of the roof once and not having to worry about it again for 50 years. Mm-hmm. And so if for $500,000, say, we don't have to replace that roof again, which will definitely cost more than $500,000 in 25 years to replace it. That appeals to me, but I am worried about the sound, and I just want to see the numbers just to work out exactly, so what we've asked them to do is to calculate the net present value of both of the projects, so we can see in today's costs, what's the 50-year cost of both of these options, so we can really see the benefit we're getting, and we can really weigh them up. And that's the sort of information we'll come back to you on December 11th and get to submit the design to the MSBA.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving right along to first reading of some policies.
Sure. We'll start off with file BGE, policy dissemination. This one actually was before the committee for first reading, got sent back to the subcommittee to clean up some things. So you can see in red the changes that we made, just so it cleared up that it wasn't the official version being held in the superintendent's office. The policy will be published on the website, and they can contact the superintendent's office if they have trouble accessing it online.
Okay.
And I had raised that question, and I think this clarifies it. Thank you.
Okay. Next one up, file BGF, suspension of policies. This was reviewed by MASC in 2022, and we are recommending no changes to this one. File BHC, School Committee Staff Communications, again, reviewed by MASC in 2022. We're not recommending any changes to this policy. File BIA, New School Committee Member Orientation, again, reviewed by MASC in 2022. They just added the legal reference to it. But other than that, we're not recommending any changes. File BIBA, School Committee Conferences, again, reviewed by MASC in 2022, added the legal references and some other references, not recommending any changes. File CA, Administration Goals. The only thing we recommended was actually changing it from administration, the title of it, from administration goals to administration responsibilities. We just felt like that more accurately reflected what the policy entails. And then again, reviewed by MASC in 2022 and added the legal references. Any issues with that title change? And then the last one is File CB, School Superintendent. Again, that was reviewed by MASC in 2022, and the committee is not recommending any changes to that.
Any overall questions? All right, so we'll bring all of those back for a second reading at our next meeting. We'll move on to the subcommittee representative and liaison reports, and we have the Superintendent Search Subcommittee. So just a quick update is the application deadline is tomorrow. The committee does not know at this moment how many applicants we have, but the committee will receive the applications of all of the applicants on Saturday, and we meet again on Monday, the 24th, to determine who will be part of that first round of applicants. So, it's coming quickly, and I just wanted to remind everybody at the table that we did add that December 18th special meeting for us to announce, but the 17th is also a day that we need to be here for the interviews.
And the time for that?
It depends on how many applicants. I believe the earliest it would be is 5 o'clock, but I will come back with that. Yes.
Could we have, could we get an updated meeting schedule? You know, like that one-page document that we have?
Yes.
Could we have everything added to that and just sent out again?
Yep, we had that the last meeting, but
Oh, perfect.
we can email it out.
That's okay, I must have missed it in the packet, so
Yep.
I can dig for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, building committee, I feel like, do we have anything else for the building committee?
No, I think that sums it up.
Okay. Moving to the superintendent's report.
This week, our Community Engagement Coordinator, Joy Jordan, was asked to be a presenter and a panelist at a webinar hosted by the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority on the topic of using social media to connect with students and families. The session was geared towards educating school counselors and other school officials on the effective use of social media as a communications tool. Yesterday was National Education Support Professionals Day, and I want to publicly recognize the many people who keep our schools running smoothly, from instructional assistants to the cafeteria staff, custodians, bus drivers, nurses, administrative assistants, and more. They impact every aspect of our students' experiences in our schools, and we appreciate their dedication. Many thanks to Cape Cod 5 for the donation of a fiberglass shark head to the Monomoy Regional Middle School. Cape Cod 5 had displayed the shark in celebration of the Jaws 50th anniversary. And once that passed, offered the piece to Monomoy Regional Middle School, thanks to Mandy Blair, Cape Cod 5 exec and Monomoy parent. We'd like to take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to Cape Cod 5 for their incredibly generous donation. This symbol of school spirit now proudly hangs in the middle school cafeteria. Thanks again for Cape Cod 5 for bringing a bit of excitement to our students and staff. Today was the annual Thanksgiving luncheon at Chatham Bars Inn for the Chatham Elementary students. a tradition that began many years ago when Chatham Elementary didn't have a kitchen to serve hot lunches in. So the team at CBI wanted to have students have at least one hot lunch a year and started to host them each November. We thank CBI for continuing this wonderful tradition for our students, and it was just precious to go hear the students sing for their dinners. Finally, a reminder that next week is a short week for our schools for the Thanksgiving break, with no school Wednesday through Friday, and I'm wishing everyone a happy and restful holiday.
Excellent. We have had the presentation of warrants, and so now I just look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:30 PM. Have a wonderful evening and a fabulous Thanksgiving.